Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. We were supposed to have a lady in Huatulco, so I'm waiting for her to figure out her internet situation because there may be some connectivity issues. Sometimes these things happen when I have a guest on the show today. So we're going to give it here a few minutes for her to see if she can log on. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, sometimes these things happen. So hang tight. But if you don't mind, just say hi to me. Tell me where you're watching from, and we'll see if Dani's able to join us here shortly. If you're new around here and you have no idea who I am, my name is at the bottom of the screen, Mariana. I run Mexico Relocation Guide, and we're a website dedicated to teaching you how to move to Mexico the right way. We have a lot of free resources on our website, everything from, how to do a variety of different things to which places we recommend living and retiring in, to rental examples and a lot of other things. So we have so many free resources. And then once you're ready and serious about moving to Mexico and you have no idea where to start, we lay out a plan for you, a very easy to follow plan in our online guide, in our complete Mexico relocation guide. And then because we know that Mexican bureaucracy is sometimes very hard to navigate, we also give you an extensive directory of contacts throughout Mexico that can help you do a variety of things, from immigration lawyers to immigration facilitators, to real estate lawyers, to real estate contacts, to private drivers, to international moving companies, to private relocation tour guides, to a variety of different people that can even help you set up utilities, or even companies that we recommend where you can do house sitting, and that way you can check out a few different areas. So we have so many different things in our online guide. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to see if Dani's able to join us in a minute. So yeah, let's see. Where are you guys watching us from? If she isn't able to join us, we'll just turn this into a Q&A. So sorry. Don't mean to bait and switch you here, but sometimes these things happen. From San Diego. Nice. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, that's awesome, Diana. Well, welcome to the channel. I hope you get a lot of useful information from not only today's Q&A, but just in general from our channel. And then I encourage you to check out MexicoRelocationGuide.com. MexicoRelocationGuide.com. Thank you for being here. Charleston, nice. I love Charleston. I think it's such a beautiful city. From Oregon. So excited to see this. Huatulco's on my short list of places to retire in the next couple of years. Yeah, I hope she's able to join us, Julie. If not, I'm sorry to disappoint. But we do have a lot of resources on our website about Huatulco. If you're ever wondering, what Huatulco is like, and you just want to go see what we have on our website, I'm going to pull it up and put it in the comments for you guys to see all the things that we have put together for Huatulco. So thanks for being here, Julie. Sorry to disappoint. It looks like she's not joining me, so I'm sorry about that. Hello, Cindy. So nice to see you today. Matthew, thank you so much for being here. Dave, so nice to see you. Oh, you moved to Puerto Rico. Nice. I remember you talking about possibly moving there, and I didn't know, I haven't followed up with you, so it's good to see that you're in Puerto Rico. What is it like? Maybe you can tell the rest of us. Colorado, nice. Thank you so much for being here, Elizabeth. Brooklyn, thank you so much, Dovey. So nice to see you today. I see you always have a lot of questions, and I'm so glad you do. Sometimes I'm not able to answer all of them. So I hope you don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm definitely not ignoring you. There's a lot of questions that get posted on our channel. So hopefully I can get to you eventually, right, and answer all of them. I'm still in Nebraska. Okay, nice to see you, Harold. Thanks for being here. Hi, Donna. So nice to see you. If you guys don't know this, Donna did a video for us about living in Huatulco. Her and her husband, Norm, are pillars of the community in Huatulco. And I'm excited to share with you guys that very soon. We're working on some final edits. And Donna, I will share with you the final edit before it goes live and goes public, just to make sure that I get your thumbs up. So I will be in touch with you very soon. Thanks for being here. Brenda, thank you so much for joining me. We're all living the dream, right? It's just another day in paradise. Alexandra, so nice to see you. Great question. So I split my time between Austin, Texas, and Mexico City. I'm currently in Mexico City, where I spend the majority of summer or sometimes springtime. It just depends. My entire family lives in Mexico City. However, me, my husband, my dog, and my immediate family, like my mom and my sister, live in Austin with my little brother. So, part of us lives over here, and 99% of my entire family lives in Mexico, throughout Mexico, but most in Mexico City. Oh, there she is. Okay. Okay. She joined us.
I had a little problem with my browser, of course, today of all days, right?
No worries. You're here. I've been catching up with the audience, and
Oh, cool.
they're just telling us where they're watching us from. So
Yay. Well,
Georgia,
I mean,
Chicago,
hi,
Tennessee,
Georgia.
Alberta.
Oh,
Yes, so
Tennessee,
many
how
people today,
fun.
Dani. They came to see
That's
you.
that's wonderful. My son is actually a heavy crane equipment operator. He's working in South Carolina right now.
Nice, nice. Yeah,
I
somebody's
know.
actually
Yeah.
watching us from Charleston. So
Oh, that's where I think that's right. I'm not sure. You know how kids are. They only want to tell you certain little bits of information. So
yeah, yeah, I get it. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm really good. Started working out with an actual trainer at a new gym. I'm a little sore and I got a little red yesterday because I was riding around on my motorcycle, but you know.
You look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. How are
I
you
don't see the
doing?
redness.
So good to
I
see
don't
you. Oh, good.
So good to see you too. Good, good. Let's get started because some people are wondering, right, what your life is like, what your experience has been like. I would love for you to introduce yourself to the public and let them know just a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you from?
Yeah, my name's Dani Castle. I am originally from Southern California, and I was born in Loma Linda, California. I was raised in between Fontana and Monterey Park. And then I currently live in Santa Cruz, California, which is up in the middle of California.
Okay, you're currently in
Yeah,
Huatulco.
I'm currently in Huatulco, Bajías de Huatulco, Oaxaca, Mexico, and I love the air. I've been in and out of this town for 3.5 years.
Nice, nice. Why Huatulco? Like, how did you come across? Because Huatulco is only recently, I feel like, up and coming, especially with the foreigner community. I know it's been
Yeah.
very, very, very popular with Mexico, but how did you hear
hmm
about it?
Definitely. Well, I, I guess my grandmother used to throw me in the car and drive down here from Fontana. She had friends or something down here, and it used
Oh,
to
really?
just be a fishing village and a palapa, and she used to bring me down here. So I guess, that historical connection was there for me from the get-go. It wasn't top on my list, but my mother told me, she goes, "Yeah, well, your grandma used to take you down there." And I'm like, "What?" So,
That's hilarious. So you actually have
yeah,
some history.
I know it's weird. And looking at all the places, I wanted some place that was a small, walkable, uh, did wasn't expensive to get around in, that had more of a local vibe, even though it is a tourist town for the Mexican nationals. I just felt this was kind of Cancun light. People would probably kill me for saying that. I know my Mexican friends will, it is not. So, but it kind of is. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. For people wondering, where Huatulco is, it's located in the state of Oaxaca. It's on the south uh, western like part of the peninsula. So you're on the
Right.
Pacific side of the ocean.
So The minute it gets skinny, the little tail end of Mexico, that's where we are. So
Yeah, and if you don't know this, Huatulco is 100% a beach town. So, you know, it's
100%.
yeah,
That's absolutely
it's
true. Yeah.
hot weather, humid, beautiful, beautiful views, beautiful
Oh,
landscapes.
uh, just gorgeous. I walk every morning, well, almost every morning, but and I just it takes me a lot longer sometimes because I just get so entrenched in just, seeing the mountains when I come over a hill or seeing the bays, because I hit Playa de Santa Cruz and de Chahuay. And so I'm able to see where the boats are, where the fishing is. And, I just in awe of how beautiful it is. And it's clean here because it's such a small community. I mean, we just had Semana Santa. We're just kind of finishing Holy Week up. It's a little but it's been picked up, and I was really surprised this morning, especially at how tidy it is after such a busy week.
Yeah, yeah, they really, I feel like that government really has it under control as far as cleanup and organizing and water management and everything. It's very tidy. It's very neat.
Yeah, I mean, the last one sometimes not so
It
great,
can,
but
yeah, there.
that's just something you have to get used to. Sometimes the water is stopped for periods of time, and that just happens. I think that happens in every small town where an influx of tourists come to. I don't think it's just Hualtuco.
Yeah. Well, the thing I know about Huatulco is it's one of the few cities where the city actually does like a filtration system of their water.
Absolutely, yeah,
I
and
think
it's in
that,
Copolita, and they're constantly maintaining it, which is amazing.
yeah, yeah. For anybody wondering, why they made like Huatulco maybe versus Playa del Carmen or Cancun or have you been to those? I'm assuming you've been to those other places.
I've been to Playa de Carmen, but I would say, that's hard because you go to some of those other places like for an actual vacation.
Yeah.
They're very busy, they're very crowded, they're very clubby. They have the big clubs, and Huatulco isn't like that. I mean, they do have them,
Hmm.
Um, but there's not very many, and they're more family orientated. So like you'll see a lot more families coming to Huatulco. And excuse me, you can like I start walking, it's pretty dark outside. It's around 5:30. It's still safe.
Hmm.
There's it's kind of hard to I guess it would be the equivalent to a big city and then moving to a beach town that's quiet. So those places that you mentioned, they're much more into international tourism, whereas Huatulco is sort of getting that way, but I still think it's more about families, Mexican nationals, and just really encompassing a safe environment. They're really big on keeping it nice and quiet for the most part.
Yeah. I think that's important to kind of mention or maybe, go back to because I'm sure there's going to be some women watching this show who are wondering, is it going to be safe for me to live in Mexico or maybe live alone, right? So how do you feel about that?
I think the safety issue for me is I have huge support here, and I developed relationships because I was here probably the beginning of what we just went through. And so I started building my relationships right away with people I live around. So I wasn't afraid to talk to, uh, for example, the guy down the street at Expendido, where I buy my mezcal from. Him and his wife have been just very sweet to me and very wanted to interact with me. She wants to learn more English, and I want to learn more Spanish. Um, the place where I live has 10 apartments, and I made friends right away with the owner's daughter. It, it helps that the daughter speaks English. But like today, we just went out to coffee, and I consider them part of my family. I think when you move to a place on your own, so to speak, that it's important that's the time when you really need to know your neighbors
Yeah,
even if there is a language barrier like Spanish. I do know some Spanish, but I'm not fluent by any means. I think I understand more than I speak, but I always say hi to people. I'm always aware of where I'm at. I don't I don't talk to strangers in that sense. I say hello to people, but I don't very seldom. If people ask me questions, which I consider a little pervasive, are you alone? I don't really answer them.
sure.
Yeah, and then I know where like a doctor is, the Red Cross, the fire department. I know how to call for emergency. I know who to call if there's an emergency. And whenever I go out of town from Huatulco, my favorite beach, I tell somebody, I'm going here, I'm going there. I should be back at this time. That way I have kind of a backup.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's important. And so that you'd feel
Yeah,
confident doing your day to day and, knowing that like somebody will check up on you if
absolutely. Yeah,
mhm.
like I took a couple days off because I do acting as well when I'm in US, and I take classes, and I took some time off from that recently, and from also from my daily. So I took like 2 days off just to rest and recuperate. And my friend, the owner of this building, she said, texted me, Danny, are you okay? I haven't seen you. Because we see each other in passing all the time. So that was really nice to know that someone was like, "Where is she? I see her all the time, and now I'm not seeing her." So,
Yeah, yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
yeah,
And that sense of community is one of the reasons that I feel that a lot of people feel welcomed when they first move to Mexico that, would be very different in another country where maybe it's more, people are more private or maybe more just stuck in their, in their own circles and aren't necessarily very it's not that they're not friendly, it's just that maybe it's not the same culture, right? Of inviting
exactly.
the newcomer into your home right away. Um,
Exactly. Like,
yeah,
my neighbors and I are so close. I bring them stuff, they bring me food. We celebrate, little mini celebrations here and there for the different holidays that are going on. It's fun.
yeah, that's awesome. How
Yeah.
has your life changed since you moved to Huatulco?
I think that I am less stressed.
Okay.
And I think I'm much healthier. I was smoking a little bit when I first came here, and I recently quit.
Congrats!
Um,
Oh, that's so hard to quit.
oh, it's awful. But
Yeah,
in Mexico, they recently banned smoking in public areas.
and
What took
everyone smokes.
it's kind of like when you go to Paris, everyone says, "Oh, will you smoke?" Yeah, I'm in Paris. Everyone smokes in Paris.
Yeah.
Um, But I feel healthier. I personally don't have any health issues, but I feel like I was a little chunky when I got back because I did spend a couple months in the US during the holidays this year. I do that every other year.
Hmm.
And so I've shed probably 10 pounds just like that. And
And
it's
what do you
because
attribute it to? Do you think it's just because you're like eating healthier, or are you just more active?
I'm more active here. I eat local. I don't eat packaged food, and I eat very little meat products anymore. Yeah,
Mhm.
and Huachuca's known for the dorado, the camarones, the fish. So why not just go down to the marchanta that's selling the filetas and buy those,
Yeah.
delicious fresh fish every day, right now, especially because it's in season.
Hmm. Hmm. So you feel like you've gotten healthier in just holistically, like you've
I
stopped
say,
smoking, you're more
yeah, and
active.
absolutely. And I sleep better here. Don't ask. I think honestly, this is probably where I should have always lived.
I love
It
it.
just feels like home
Awesome.
here. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. For anybody watching, who might be wondering, is the beach for me? Was it hard to get used to the summer, like the really hot summer?
Yes and no. I mean, I've learned to do it Mexican style, if that's a thing, where you get up early in the morning,
Uh-huh.
take care of your cooking, your cleaning, your whatever you've got to do chore-wise, your exercising. I prefer to exercise in the morning. Uh, Maybe have some breakfast or coffee with friends. You come in, you relax, then it's a couple hours later, it's noon or whatever, and you chill out. You might turn on the air conditioner, you take a nap for a couple of hours, and then you start it all over again for maybe have some dinner or go out for drinks with friends. You just kind of learn to adapt to the extreme heat. But I also I started collecting Starbucks water cups, the drink
Uh-huh.
cups,
Uh-huh.
because I drink at least a gallon of water every couple of days. Like it's just an exorbitant amount of water because I sweat a lot. But
Yeah,
I think that's really contributed to my health. I must drink, depending on what I'm doing, I'm drinking anywhere between 2 to 4 liters of water every day, maybe
that's
more.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, that's the only way to go, I feel, because if you're not drinking water, you're gonna sweat. There was one time I drove my motorcycle to Playa de Zipolite and I was returning back to Huatulco, and there is super chill, right? You just wear your bathing suit all day, eat, drink, and be merry while you're at the beach. And I didn't consume enough water, and by the time I drove back, I won't say I had heat stroke, but I did have a touch of heat exhaustion right away. The skin was clammy. I was feeling ultra thirsty. I was not right. So I just started
yeah.
consuming a lot of water. I checked in with my neighbor and it was solved right away. But that was one of the times I didn't drink enough water. Um, and the heat, I would say you got to learn to dress for it too, right? This is not what you wear in the heat. You always have something covering this whole area, right? So the sweat can kind of cool you if it soaks into your clothing. That's what you want. So.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially if you're sensitive to it, which it sounds like you definitely are, and you know yourself now, and you learn that way that, you need to keep yourself hydrated. Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
want you passing
absolutely.
out.
Right?
Yeah. Did you move by yourself or well, maybe not that question, but like did you move with pets or any animal?
I God, I had Chihuahua lined up. This cute little brindle Chihuahua just lined up and ready to go. And at the last minute, I didn't uh, get the animal. No, I did not arrive with pets. I think that is so brave when people bring their pets. Uh,
Yeah.
if you bring them, if you travel with an automobile, I guess they put them in quarantine for a while. If you fly, you have to get shots and certificates, and they have to have papers, paperwork about those vaccinations. So,
Yeah. They don't quarantine them though. They
oh,
just you
okay.
just have to check with, the zoo sanitary measures or offices across the border. They just check them to see that there's no like visible parasites.
Okay.
Um,
But they
and then
do check. I know a lot of people think, oh, just put it in your car. Don't do that because they'll just turn you back around at the border.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
you
it's a
might make it
50-50
through
chance.
you might make it through a main border, but there's another border in Sinaloa in another state where they ask you to kind of go through customs again. So,
Yeah, there's checks throughout the whole highway.
yeah.
Did you drive yourself down from California or did you
I
fly?
did not. The
Yeah.
first time I came here, actually, the first time I took a bus. I live in Santa Cruz, and there is Costa de Oro, and it's in Watsonville, which is the next town over. And it's right next to a place where I used to be really naughty and eat hot dogs. They had these cute little hot dogs, they were amazing. And I'm looking across the way, and I was like, what is this? And it was just like an OXXO, but it was just that type of store where they take
Mhm.
payments and they had Electra and Coppel and all that. And I
Yeah.
go in there, what I see Oaxaca on there, and I was like, does this bus go all the way down? She goes, yeah. So the first time I took it to the border to Tijuana, and we went through customs. It left at night at 6 o'clock at night. It gets to the border around 3 in the morning. We go through customs, and then it would take me right to the airport, and I would fly out of Tijuana. The second time, I wanted to see how much I could bring, right? I
Yeah.
brought 5 cases. One of them weighed 172 pounds.
Oh.
It was a plastic uh, case that rolls, and I
Uh-huh.
had laundry soap, umbrellas, clothing, towels. I just wanted to, and I also brought
Butters, yeah.
yeah, I also brought what I call an easy bake oven. It's a countertop oven, because I don't have an oven in my place. So I learned how to use induction cooktop and learned how to use this portable oven. I brought a blender, knives. Um, and when you travel on Costa de Oro bus, they say you can bring one piece of luggage with 70 pounds.
Okay.
So I was like, it's $1 per pound for each one after. Now they didn't charge me the full amount, which I thought was amazing,
Mm.
but it took me 4 days. I did have to take the ADL bus from Oaxaca City all the way down to Huatulco. But
So they let you cross with everything at the border? Like they gave it the okay?
um, sort of, there were a few miscellaneous items, and they
That
did
they
charge
made you
me.
throw away.
They didn't make me throw it away. They wanted me to pay customs for it because we
Oh,
do this, the YouTube and whatnot. I had like audio interfaces and microphones and lights, and they're like, "What do you need all this for?" And it was, I think age-wise, this stuff has to be 6 months. I couldn't really remember, right? And I
6 months
remember
or
the
older.
the customs officer asking me, she goes, "Is this all for you?" I was like, "Yes."
Yes? Yeah, maybe it just seemed like you were more of like a production rather than,
Right. And
solopreneur.
I did have a copy of my lease on me, all the receipts for the stuff that I was bringing, or at least access to them. I created a file in my Google, whatever, in case something was amiss. And it's funny because I have an interface that's about 4 years old. This last time when it came back from the US, they were like, because it's red, right? Because they use the Focusrite run. She's like, "What's that?" I was like, "Oh no." So I had to pay about 1,000 pesos for, I think the
Oh,
most
okay.
I've ever had
Not
to
a lot.
pay was like 1,500 pesos. No, because
Oh,
it, I think when they saw me, they thought it was funny. They
yeah.
were like, who is this? Wow, 8 cases or 5 cases. What's going on here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What is this for?
I know.
Yeah.
And it was during the pandemic. And I think, yeah, I'm not sure that you could get away with that, because one of the buses, that bus that I traveled on, the first initial one out of California, there was only like, I don't know, 20 people on it.
Oh, I see. So there was like
Yeah,
more diligent searching.
I think so.
Yeah. For anybody wondering, like, how you can avoid paying some import taxes, you do have to be a resident for you to do what's called a menaje de casa.
See,
And, but, some people still bring their things without doing a menaje de casa, which is, I'm assuming, what you did. And then you pay import
right.
taxes on whatever custom says that you owe import
And I
taxes
love
on.
how you did that. You're just whatever. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So if you think it's a possibility that you're going to have to pay a customs tax, bring a receipt.
Yeah.
And make sure that it's at least 6 months old. Otherwise, you're going to pay full pop for it. So,
Yeah. And don't bring
because,
things in original boxes because that is like an automatic flag of this is new.
right, even though this time my box was really torn up and kind of, it was barely hanging on, she was just like, "You're paying." I was like,
But 1,500 pesos, I mean, I'm assuming at the exchange rate then,
it was
$20 to a
fine.
to one
Yeah, I
or
think it
20
was at,
pesos to a dollar.
yeah, exactly. And I think at that time it was about 19 pesos to the dollar. So it wasn't, I mean, I was expecting much more because I had so much
Yeah.
stuff with me that time. So I was really lucky.
So tell people, like, what are maybe some lesser known things about, in your experience, right? From your perspective, what are some lesser known things about beach living or maybe, living in Mexico?
I would say what some of the lesser known things are, and I'm also a stand-up comic, so this might get a little out of character for some people, like, what is she talking about? Um, I love Charmin bathroom tissue, and they don't sell it here. So,
Fair enough. Yeah. That's important for your
uh,
sushi.
and right. And I also am a former Marine, so I have gone about 5 or 6 years using just flat sheets. I don't use
Mm,
fitted sheets, so I make a military rack. I say this because the beds and furniture in Mexico are a little bit smaller because it's a metric system, and Mexican people, I'm not going to say they're short, smaller, any of that stuff, but I'm not that size, right? So
mhm.
the beds are a little bit, so if you don't mind your sheets kind of being saggy and weird on it, on your bed, uh, bring flat sheets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one of the other things, this isn't my thing, it was one of my friend's things, but in the cooler months, it can get in the 70s in
So
the
you were
morning.
prepared for cold weather.
I'm not, I didn't mind, but she told me she missed having a hot shower.
Oh, she doesn't have hot water in her house?
Most people in Huatulco don't, and the
Yeah.
reason being is because right now it's hot enough to have a hot shower. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because a lot
You
of,
wanna take a cold shower.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And the lost animals that have come and visit me at my house: iguana, tarantula, scorpions, kittens.
Yeah.
Some the baby iguana, it was a juvenile. I have a porte de luz, so I have 2 bedrooms, have a little patio in between. Makes the light from above come down into the place below me. Well, the iguana got caught in this little patio area, and I'm screaming, calling my neighbor, "Oh, there's an iguana on my patio!" And she's like, "Well, don't touch it."
You just let
And
it
then
be.
I couldn't help myself, right? It's this bright green, beautifully colored iguana. It was a little bit small. So I kept peeking. I'm looking in the screen and it popped into the apartment. I'm like, ah! So then I couldn't find it because it was in one of my curtains and it just kind of stayed there all night. So I put a little water and let us out for it. I don't know anything about iguanas, but I didn't, it was pretty hot that day, so I didn't want it to get sick or anything. So I had the water. The next morning, I go to open the window and fluff up the curtains. Bam! He goes running out of the front door.
Oh, she was on the curtain.
Oh man.
Poor iguana.
And I have super curly hair. Like my hair looks like it's professionally permed most of the time. I got a blowout today just for being on the live stream with you. Um, if you have naturally curly hair, learn to love it. Yes, you
Yeah,
could get a blowout every day. Um, that's not really a thing here, right? Because you usually have it up under a hat, pinned, whatever. If it's curly, fall back and live with that curly hair.
absolutely. Embrace it.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah,
even if
just,
you blow it out by 3 p.m., it'll be
oh
curly
yeah,
again.
like this is kind of straight. And my hairdresser made it all beautiful and back. And I was like, oh man, I was sweating just walking from the salon. So,
Oh, you look
oh,
beautiful.
thank you. Thank
I wish
you.
you would have embraced your curl for this live stream so the women could see
100%.
how beautiful
Yeah,
your curls
yeah,
are.
yeah. I couldn't settle my body temperature down enough because I've been working out most of the day and I had coffee with a friend and it was just kind of a bit weird, busy
It was
day.
a hot
So,
day.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
What do you dislike about Huatulco? Are there things that you might not love?
That was such a hard question because there aren't.
Okay, that's good.
One of the things that I think I dislike the most, or I hear other people having problems with it more so than myself. I had to kind of get used to it because I am former military, I was also a teacher for a while. Um, and I have kids, so I'm constantly cracking the whip. Time is a thing. There are no clocks in Watuco. So
Yeah,
if you go to the movement office, which is the DMV, your appointment's at 9, they might see you at
yeah,
10:15,
yeah.
right? You can't be pounding your fist, work until throwing a fit. You just have to go with the flow, right? And I have learned to bring cold drinks and some snacks for the people that work in those offices. I didn't,
Mm,
I didn't know that
you're
in the
wining and
beginning.
dining them. Yeah, why not?
You have to, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I would say that, and it took me a minute to like figure out when to order water, which is
Okay.
the big Garrafon, I think it's
Mhm.
4.5 liters. I don't know. There's quite a bit, or four. No, it's more than that.
I don't know either how many liters.
But it's
I
big,
know it's like probably 7 gallons or something like that.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it took me a minute to figure that out. You can do just about everything online,
Mhm.
especially if you have a Mexican bank account, which I'm lucky I do. Apparently, things are changing a lot for people that have residency. You have to have a particular style, permanent or temporary, and now they're not. They're like, can't do that kind of stuff anymore. So it
Yeah,
does,
we're getting stricter or more formal on who they're opening bank accounts for. It's
and
not
I,
across the
c-
board. There are some banks that will open it for temporary or even
yeah,
tourist, but I
yes,
understand what you mean. It's getting
yeah,
more
it's
strict.
getting a little more, yeah. And so I'm trying, and I thought about that and thought about that. What don't I like about Huatulco? Mm, I would say maybe the representation of people that come here sometimes are not respecting the culture. And
Mm.
that's probably more a personal thing for me because I do have some Mexican traditions and culture in my family, mostly from my grandparents. Um, yeah,
Do
yeah,
you mean like other Mexicans? Like other Mexicans are not
no,
representative? Okay.
no. Trying to
You mean
be
like
like
foreigners?
PC right here, right?
Trying to be politically correct?
Yeah, I don't want to
Um,
bash or say anything to anyone. Yeah.
yeah, but you've seen maybe some foreigners not be respectful of local customs and traditions and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way to live in any foreign country is you have to go with the flow of the country, regardless.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can stomp your feet and, cuss and whatever, get mad in your face. They're just gonna think está loca en your cabeza. They're not gonna, they're just gonna think you're nuts. So
Yeah, yeah,
it,
yeah. And you're not going to change anything anyway. The only one that you're upsetting is yourself. Yeah. I
yeah,
agree with that. And
exactly.
I think most people watching this would probably agree. If they've been following Mexico Relocation Guide for a while, I think most people here would probably agree that, the people that are truly interested in moving are wanting to integrate and wanting to, be a part of the community, be a part of the society.
Yeah.
And that is also embracing sometimes the frustration, right, of like dealing with the time issue and all that.
I mean, we're having this building remodeled, and I've had maintenance done inside my place. He's supposed to come tomorrow. Okay, good. You know?
Okay.
So if I leave, I hand my keys over to a neighbor and say, he's supposed to come today, but can you set your life by that? I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah. You just got to learn to go with the flow. I 100%
Exactly.
agree with that, Danny.
Good. Yeah. I think some
That's
people
probably why
really
you're
try
living
to,
with less. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I think some people try to fight and they want to rage against the machine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's
there
hard. It's an adaptation time, right? To like adapt,
100%.
to like learn to let go, to learn to slow down, to there's a learning curve, and I think everyone goes through that.
Yeah. And my personal motto is adapt and overcome, right?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
just have to adapt. I will say there is one thing that I had to get used to the hard way. Um, there are traffic lights here. There are a lot of Mexicans that are colorblind. So,
Oh yeah. Good reminder. Yeah.
you need to look all the ways and make
It's a
sure someone's not
suggestion.
coming in your direction. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a suggestion. Have you been
Yeah.
into any traffic accidents?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
But
anybody watching, you do not have the right of way as a pedestrian, so do not walk in front of a car on a walkway
yeah,
thinking that they'll
and
stop.
don't cross any street where cars can right turn onto it. So if you're close to an
Ah,
intersection, cross the street way up above it because yeah, they they might see you. I mean, they know that pedestrians are there, bicyclists, but yeah, no.
yeah.
You just have to like make sure that your bubble is traveling, where there's
Yeah,
no
yeah, yeah.
cars. Don't take a
Yeah,
chance. Uneven sidewalks and streets, you could run across the street and fall because you've tripped on something. Just make sure there's plenty of room between you and a car always.
yeah. Great advice. What did your family think of when you were moving to Mexico?
It's funny. I've been pretty adventurous, especially I have adult children, grandchildren. I just made sure that they understood the plan that I had to visit with them
Mm.
on returning because I do still have a house in California. Um, they didn't. I think they thought it was pretty typical the way I
Yeah,
have lived my life. Yeah, because
that's
I've lived
good.
in Japan. I lived in Japan when I was in the service, and then I stayed there for 10 years. I had a couple of my children there. Of course, this was a million years ago. I have visited Europe and Germany and France and Italy. So I don't think that they thought it was unusual. And I had been talking about it for about 5 years
Hmm.
prior. I just had to figure out where, when, and how that was going to go down.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, how you make your living, or maybe, how are you able to afford your lifestyle? Um, are you still working? No, you're fully.
I'm lucky, and it's weird because I'm one of the younger people here retired. I am a retired Marine and a teacher, so I don't have bills. I do have a house in the US. I have a few toys that I pay for, a couple of motorcycles in a car. Um, but yeah, and I think I'm able to do this more so because I live a Mexican lifestyle.
So
I
important.
didn't, right. I didn't take my California lifestyle, which is very chaotic, and bring it to Huatulco. I
Yeah.
chose to get a motorcycle instead of a car. Um, that's it's not my major mode of transportation, but it is a big part of it. And I buy furniture from an antique dealer in Mexico City. I didn't, the stuff I brought were just like creature comforts, like my Easy Bake Oven, a blender,
Yeah.
my sheets, linen sheets, because I am a sweater. Um, the clothes that I have here, 90% of them are shorts and tank tops.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever keeps you cool.
Exactly. Yeah,
Mhm. So you learn to adapt to more of the local lifestyle. I think that's
absolutely.
so important, and that's truly the way how you're able to significantly lower your cost of living when moving to Mexico. Because you could easily spend a lot of money in Mexico too.
A hundred
Um,
percent. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I've been running my air conditionado off and on because it's hot.
yeah, sure.
It's like 91 degrees right now, and the relative humidity is going up because it's trying to rain. Um, so but I also picked a spot where I live where it's the cost of it's a little bit lower. So I live adjacent to the main Zocalo here in La Crucecita.
Mm,
And because of that, when you live in those parts of town, I live um, adjacent to H3 and La Crucecita and the beach. So because I'm not right on the beach, my CFE bill, which is your electricity here, is not as high.
mm.
That was also the reason I picked where I live. People are like, well, how did you know? And when you were asking me some of those questions beforehand, I was like, how did I know? But
Yeah,
I'm sure I probably landed on your site before we met. I've read countless blogs and uh, postings and watched a million videos and, took notes, made a list. And then in the very beginning, I made the do I want list
Mm,
and then a have to have list. So
mhm.
the have to have list had reduced costs for housing, uh, utilities. I had to be walkable. So those were my must-haves. The wants, of course, who doesn't want to plunge pool in their place or be steps away from the beach? Well,
Sure, yeah.
maybe someday.
Yeah, but you don't always go hand in hand. But how
Yeah,
far are you from the beach right now? Like, if you were gonna walk to the beach, how far are you?
like 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, it's not
I would
bad.
say I would say 10, 20 minutes depending on who I see on the way there, because that would
Yeah.
take me a minute.
How much chit chat you get caught up
Right?
with. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. I'm so happy I got to meet you
Oh,
and
same here, Mariana. I mean, it's just such a pleasure to that you're doing this service because that's the way I look at it for other people that are on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. It's kind of small. It's called Regular Gorgeous. If you're interested in some of my antics that I've done with traveling here and
I'll
some of
add
my
a link.
comedy. Yeah, definitely.
I'll add a link.
Yeah.
Remind me
Oh, I
before
will.
we finish this.
Thank
Um,
you.
you ready for some questions that people may have?
Sure.
Awesome. So if you guys are wondering what her YouTube channel is, I'm gonna put it up in the questions. Regular gorgeous. Here you
And they
are.
can watch that video. I rode a bus to Oaxaca. That's kind of a funny title because people were like, "You did what? Like a Greyhound bus?" I'm like, "No."
A little bit different, a little bit different.
Yeah.
Um, are you active in tennis? Do you play tennis in Huatulco?
I don't, but I did buy a racket because I played pickleball during the pandemic and I kind of want to go back to tennis, which I did a long time ago. There is a place that I found that is one of the beaches in the all-inclusive hoteleria area, and it's called Las Brises. I'm going to talk to someone that had a membership there, and I guess you can have a membership and play tennis at their courts there. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's like
Outdoor,
a
I assume.
yeah. Probably in the
Yeah,
morning.
yeah. You have to go early so you don't
Right.
exhaust yourself by 11
Absolutely. Yeah.
a.m. For anybody wondering, I see some people asking here what part of town you live in. You said Santa Cruz,
I live in El Centro or La Crucecita. Playa de
Crucecita.
Santa,
Sorry.
I would say La Crucecita.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I'm trying to see which. Some people are saying hi, and some people have questions. So I have
Hi.
to see like which ones are questions and which ones are just people saying hello. See, some people are saying hi. So nice to see
Hi.
you.
Yeah, it's great that people are saying hi. I love that. Um, are looking for a beach town?
Is it very touristy?
Mm, we just had Semana Santa, so yes, during that time, it's very touristy. This is a place where the Mexican nationals like to vacation. Very touristy compared to like Disneyland, Cancun, or Veracruz. No, it's not like that at all.
Yeah,
I would say the beaches, they have the typical, atypical restaurants where you eat, you have the umbrella and the chair, that's kind of included and in and out of the water all day. Yes, we have those definitely. But I have friends that are locals here, so they showed me where those places are too. So,
yeah. Which I mean, I can't state enough. If you are interested in living truly like a local and learning this local life, I really recommend doing a relocation tour with somebody who
absolutely,
knows the area and is going to do all these things that we're talking about.
100%. Yes.
Other than the beach, because that's also a great question. What are some good day trips that you recommend?
So there's a huge rumate or open market in Pachula, and that is about 40 minutes away. You can take the vans they have on the alternative bus station, which is just here. It's just past ADO, and it's kind of in the back there. And you go to
Okay.
the rear of the bus station, they have the vans. It's like 35 pesos. Uh, you hop on what you say, pachula, pachula. You go back there with your little satchel or whatever carrying you have. Hopefully you have water. And
Yes.
that's a great day trip for Monday.
Okay.
Probably I would do that in the morning because it's really hot. Also, coffee fields. There's a uh, Finca de Cafe, coffee farm, uh, just past Pachutla. You kind of go through that area of town. The cascadas or the cascades of waterfalls. That's also a fun trip, day trip. Um, Where else? Copalita, which is one of the places you can surf in Huatulco. We do have ruins here as well. They have wonderful, wonderful, amazing, just amazing tour guides that know all about the ruins that are here in Huatulco that just recently were vacated by people living in them. So, like 10 years ago. I know. I was
So
like,
pretty.
what?
Yeah, pretty. I haven't been to the ruins in near Huatulco. I have been to Monte Alban, which is like in near Oaxaca, um,
Okay.
but yeah, totally different. I'm sure totally different than whatever's
You
near Huatulco.
and you could also go to my favorite beach was Playa de Zipolite. Yes, back in the day it was nudist European and all that stuff, but it's just a really chill vibe. But you probably won't just stay there for the day. You'll want to get a hotel and stay the night. So I would
Got
say
it.
that's
Yeah,
not a day trip.
got it. You want to be able to spend the night.
Yeah,
Um, Somebody's wondering, and we kind of briefly talked about this earlier, but do you think that somebody can get by in Huatulco while they're still learning their Espanol?
absolutely. 100%. If and the fact that you're learning español, habla español, sí, poquito más. That's always my answer. Um, yeah,
I love it.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the way I tell people about learning Spanish is this. Pick a phrase. My phrase for this week is que tengas buen día, which means have a
Oh,
good day.
beautiful. You have great pronunciation.
Oh, thank you. I guess I spoke Spanish when I was little, but the
Mm,
minute I got to kindergarten, they hit you with the ruler if you spoke Spanish. Of course, that was
yeah,
back in the
have to
60s.
assimilate.
Right? You have to be American. You have to
Yeah,
speak English. Yes, you definitely could get by without speaking Spanish, but why would you want to?
yeah,
Learn
that's
a
while you're
little
still
Spanish.
learning. While you're
Yeah,
still learning,
absolutely.
it's definitely doable. Yeah,
Yes.
don't be afraid. I would also mirror and 100% say what Danny is saying. Yes, you can. Don't be afraid to move just because you aren't 100% fluent. Um,
Yeah, I would say fluency is going to come from experience. And the happy you are, of course, you're going to start speaking more Spanish. Don't be afraid. Who cares if you don't sound like a native, you know?
yeah. The nice thing is also, in Mexico, people are so nice, and they'll
Super.
not make
No,
fun of you if you're trying to say
no.
something.
They
Uh,
might, like today, my friend said adelantita, and I thought she said tonto tita or something. So the taxi driver was laughing at both of us, because I just
uh,
started cracking up. Adelantita, what does that mean? She goes, just go over here a little bit.
yeah, yeah, like a little bit forward.
Exactly.
Yeah. Somebody has a good point. Like, how do you find purpose, right? Like, you're not working. You're like, for many people, like,
I
how do you?
love that question. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I think, and I was thinking about that a lot the last couple of weeks, people retire and they don't have a plan for that free time, right? Of course, the
yeah,
first 3 months you're going to eat and drink and be merry and watch all kinds of binging on Netflix or whatever programs you like to watch, but that can quickly fade, right? I'm an actor. I participate in acting class virtually at Ivana Chubbuck Studios, and my coach name is Cameron McCormick. I'm taking a break right now because I told myself after a year I was taking like a month-long break. I also am re-upping my YouTube channel. People are like, why do you want to do that? It's a creative outlet for me. I have lots of hobbies. I like to read. I like to read political stuff lately.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Just about different curiosities that I have about other political animals. Um, I also play pickleball, and that there's always a social aspect to it that goes a little bit deeper than just socializing. So there's people that are involved in charities with that, and so I'm able to connect with those people. I have grandkids. I've learned to play Nintendo Switch, so we can do that long distance,
Love
right?
it. That's
Um,
awesome.
I do contribute to a few charities. Mine right now is Freedom of the Press. There is a church ran by a gentleman called Randy Clearwater and have donations there. Um, I write, read, I knit and crochet. Um, yeah, I would say as
Yeah, you
far
have
as
so many
my
things going
purpose,
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm filling in some of the my lifelong desires, which one was to be an actor, to be a writer. My next class is going to be how to write a screenplay. Yeah,
Nice. I love
yeah.
it.
And
I
I
think
love you
that's a great
too
part.
for this because it's such a huge creative outlet. You can go so many different places with the channel. Look what you've done. You have this amazing business, the relocation guide, which, by the way, costs next to nothing. That is ridiculous that you don't charge like $1,000 for that thing. So, um,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I totally agree. It's a great way for you to, one, have like a hobby, a purpose, and then also connect with other people that are interested in the same
absolutely,
things. Like all these things
absolutely.
that you talked about, there's a way to socialize in them. So
100%. Yeah.
yeah.
And then when I'm in the States, if I'm there for longer than a month, I do contribute to different charities. One of them's called Operation Surf, and it teaches uh, injured veterans that have head trauma, paraplegics, quadriplegics, and it's a very private situation for them to learn how to surf on local beaches where I live in Santa Cruz. So,
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so
yeah, I
nice.
hope that
You're
answered the
so-
question. I think everybody's purpose in life is a little bit different, and mine, I feel like I'm kind of redoing some things I never got a chance to do. So,
I love that. And for anybody out there watching, it's never late, you guys. You can always start becoming a writer today. You can
or
always
an
open up
actor,
a new
yeah.
business or an actor. Or or join a charity that you find purpose behind or you really connect with. It's never late to start something new.
100%,
Yeah,
100%.
as long as you wake up another day, it's never late.
Right?
How did you find the place that you're renting?
So I feel like everything's a story, right? Because it was during the situation we just had in the States, um, worldwide, actually.
Yeah.
So I respected the request not to travel. I looked on Facebook, which I'm no longer on, and I found the pages where people were advertising rentals. Contacted them, looked at every picture, made it bigger, made it smaller. What would that look like here? Tried to do some virtual situations. Where is this exactly? Looking at the satellite map, is it walkable? Where is this in location to any stores? That kind of thing.
Hmm.
And once I made contact, I rented sight unseen because I couldn't travel. And I actually had a much smaller space. Then I paid on it for over a year. I don't even think I lived in my
Oh, like
first
they
place
lied
to.
about the size of the space?
No, 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 no. It was
Oh,
just
okay.
I chose a small space because I didn't want it to cost a bunch because I was doing sight
Oh,
unseen.
got it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So
Sorry, I
my
missed.
smaller space, I say smaller, but it was massive. It was a studio, but it was huge, Mariana. It was like 12-foot ceilings and this beautiful front window, and it was nice and cool, and had the service room that was, I don't know, 8 feet long. It was just an amazing spot.
Yeah.
I had furniture delivered there. And when a bigger place became available, I just let them know I was interested in that. So, but the
So you
location of my place is also on a street that only goes one direction for the most part.
yeah, whenever somebody isn't trying to, break the
Go
rules of the
backwards.
road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Sure. So
Yeah.
that means that it has less traffic and less noise and things like that.
Except for there's two private schools for younger children down the street from here, and about
Mm,
7:30, you do not want to be on that street here because people are just racing to get there on time. I'm like, ah!
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. And then,
but
like,
they
around
had,
4 o'clock, you hear all the
yeah,
little kids laughing, yeah.
and it had my want, so it had to be close. There's a beautiful church in La Crucecita, small cross, and it has, I think, the largest fresco of Virgen de Guadalupe on the
Mhm.
ceiling. And that was like an anchor for me. I really wanted to be close to that, also close to the beach. So it was walkable. We just got our street fixed because it was littered with what do you call the potholes, boches?
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, just crazy. But they just recently fixed it. So I
Good.
would say if you're looking for a place, the Facebook pages are probably best. If you can come here for 1 month, and I say that sparingly because I know some people, they landed, they found a spot, rented it for 30 days or bought it or whatever, I would
Yeah.
say maybe come for 1 month if you can, or even 2 weeks, walk around where this particular neighborhood is something you like. And maybe you see the Serenta on, a building. Call the number and see what's up.
Yeah, and those places sometimes aren't even like whenever you see the "Se renta" signs, like sometimes they're not even in front of the building that's for rent. Sometimes you'll see it at a restaurant
Yeah,
or
exactly.
see it, at a a store, right? A corner store.
Right.
So you just have to call the number and if you don't speak Spanish, find somebody that will help you translate. And find out, right? Like what is the size of the
Absolutely.
house? Does it come
Yes.
with furniture?
Right.
We have a really good list of questions you should be asking. That way you know exactly what to expect.
100%. So mine came, I guess you would call it partially furnished. So it had
Yeah,
a bed, it had bed, it did have a chair, and I didn't like it. So I asked, oh, I'll take the bed, but can you move that chair? I didn't say it was ugly or anything. I just said,
sure.
I don't really want that. So they
Yeah.
did move it to other
Okay.
buildings because the majority of the places in my building are studios, and they're frequented by nationals who work a lot. The standard work week here in Mexico is 6 days.
Hmm.
So Sunday is usually my busiest day to be cleaning and doing all that stuff. So I have to be really quiet because
Yeah.
my neighbors, it's their only day
It's
off. So
holy.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You don't wake them up.
no,
Yeah. So yeah, so you would say that depending on how picky somebody is, they might be able to find a place right away. But also if you know that your list is really long of must-haves, then it might take you longer.
right.
Yeah.
That's a great summary. I think that there are must-haves that are non-existent here in Huatulco.
Yeah.
Can you live on the beach? Not really. Can you live close to the beach? Sort of. The bays here are occupied by businesses and um, condominium complexes. So yeah, I think it's best to, like I said, have those two lists going, the wants and the must-haves. If the must-haves is longer than 10, I don't know.
Yeah.
You might have someone else look at it and check it out, see,
Also,
call
it's a
Mariana,
rental.
send Mariana an email, maybe she can help you.
I do have a list of things that you should be asking, and then also just some things that you should really be honest with yourself, right? Like if
Yeah,
you absolutely need these things but have a very low budget, it might be very unrealistic. Um,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
you know,
I
the higher your budget, the more things on your list that can possibly be fulfilled.
100%. And I
Mhm.
have to say this, if you're coming as a couple, pick a straw. One person makes all those decisions. You know what? Because you can always change it, right? Otherwise, you're going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it's just going to be, you might fight with each other. So,
Yeah, I would agree with that. Also, it's just a rental, right? Like you can always change later. Yeah.
and there are rentals that are super teeny tiny with furniture that are, and there are others that are 2, 3 stories big without furniture, built-in stuff, the whole, it runs the gamut.
Yeah. No clocks, no hurry sounds great. Somebody's ready to start taking it slower. I love Huatulco
Yeah,
or
yeah,
any beach
yeah.
town in Mexico for that matter.
I would say any beach town in Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's next for you? Are you going to stay in Huatulco long term or are you planning to go somewhere else?
I will say today I'm here, and that's lovely. I have thought about San Pancho, Veracruz, and I'm not sure am I saying this, Querétaro?
Querétaro?
Yeah, that just sounds like so me, so classic, old school, the Spanish colonial style. Morelia also sounded beautiful too, but I'm a fan of the water and the beaches, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe you need to be close to water. Maybe Chapala. Maybe Chapala is
Oh,
somewhere.
Chapala. I would say no. I scratched that one off my list, but then I always go back to it. It's still kind of floating there. So
Yeah. Somebody's asking what the elevation is. It's at sea level.
we're at sea level. The
There are some
montañas can
hills.
go up to, I think one of the big ones is something like 6,000. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Further away from the beach. And then it's cold. I mean, not cold, but it's cooler. Like that's where the beach
The
people go
Mexicans would
to.
say it was cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wear the long sleeves and jackets, pants and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that's
San
where you see a
Jose.
lot of the waterfalls and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to thank you so much for joining us today
Oh,
and
thank
sharing
you.
so much.
I appreciate it.
I'm gonna reshare your YouTube channel in case anybody's wondering.
Yeah.
She shared some interesting stories and just her experience, right? Regular gorgeous. And yeah, I am also going to share in the comments for anybody who's wondering the list of questions you should be asking.
Oh, good.
And
Because I think those are wonderful questions. And it's not much different than a rental you might have had as a younger person if you own a house now. It's not any different than that. And imagine if someone was renting your house, what would you want to know about them? Um,
yeah,
because I do know people, they have been scammed here because they didn't vet the person they were renting from. They go to accept the keys and move in, and the owner's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but they've
yeah,
already given the money, right? So,
yeah, terrible practice.
oh
Yeah, that's
man, yeah,
do your due diligence, people, please. Don't just take it at face
100%,
value.
a
Yeah,
hundred
do your due
percent,
diligence.
yeah.
Um, Somebody's wondering if you're a permanent resident.
Not yet.
Yeah. You got
And
the
it's
special regularization visa? Is that what you got?
I don't know. I have a temporary residency right now, but I got so I did 1 year, and then I next time I went in, they gave me 2 years.
Oh,
But
they
I
didn't let
think
you
it
renew for 3?
no, just
Oh,
two.
interesting.
But that
Okay.
was last August. And I think I hate to say this, but I think it's because I'm a single female. They want to make sure that you're situated, so
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
moving around a lot was extremely helpful in my case.
Mm.
So, and I did all that myself. If you don't have an understanding of an Espanol or how to create a cita or appointment, don't recommend that.
Yeah.
Hire someone like Mariana to help you with that situation because it requires a lot of paper.
Yeah, or maybe you just don't wanna spend the time waiting in line and doing all those things, right? And
Yeah.
making the cita and et
Yeah,
cetera.
but if
So,
you're on a budget and don't want to drop the 1,500, 2 grand that people are asking for, hit me up on my channel, and I would love to. maybe guide you a little bit, that's fine.
So when you
But
say 1,500, you're talking in pesos.
dollars.
Oh, who's charging that? That's insane. No, none
Mhm.
of our contacts are charging that. Don't ever pay that. Unless they're including immigration fees in
Yeah,
their total amount. But no, that's outrageous.
I
Don't pay
know.
that, guys. That's
Yeah.
that's
And
not
I
what a
do,
facilitator should charge.
no, no. And the people that help with those types of documentations, they do not have favors from the US embassies because it's not allowed. They only contact them on your behalf. And I think it's really important because that kind of freaked me out a little bit. I was like, because they told me, oh, I made an email and just acted like I was you. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So, ask the questions, like you say, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. It's really important that you understand what's happening because it's a
Yeah.
very personal thing to get that residency card.
Yeah, and you want to ensure that you obtain it if you're going to be living in Mexico. You don't want to have to deal with, the uncertainty. There have been people also who claim to help people get their residency. They
And
actually
they
get a
don't.
card and then it's fake. So just be careful who you hire to do these.
Yeah.
Hire
And I
somebody
think
that's
that,
reputable.
oh, that's awful. That's
Yeah,
awful.
and definitely 1,000, $1,500 is unless
That's,
they're including all immigration fees in your process. But yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank
Yeah.
you, Danny,
Oh,
so
thank
much for
you.
sharing
Thank
a little bit
you.
of your life with us.
Yeah, of course. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. If you guys are wondering, next week we have another live stream on the 19th of April. Wednesday, the 19th of April at 6 p.m. Central Daylight Savings Time or Daylight Time, and then 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, because I know now Mexico and the US are not in sync anymore. It's such a mess.
Yeah, and I
Um,
guess Oaxaca doesn't always do the thing, the savings, like
well, you're on Central Standard Time, and then the rest of like Central Time Zone is on a different time zone now. So it's so confusing.
yes.
But we have Nomad RX who's going to be joining us next week, and they're going to be talking all about how to get access to telemedicine for veterans who are living in Mexico.
Oh, I love that.
You'll be
Yeah, because
interested in
I'm a
this.
veteran too. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll
And
be
I was
interested in
just,
this.
well, we have a naval hospital here and that's Mexican naval, but I know that they're talking about that telehealth care all around the place. I think it's a wonderful benefit for veterans. And yes, you can accept any kind of money here in Mexico. Because some people,
Yeah.
oh, you can't accept your benefits pay for. I was like, who told you that you can accept
Yes,
that
you can
here? So.
absolutely get your benefits deposited into a
Yeah.
Mexican bank
And
account.
what is the name of the person you're going to have on again?
Nomad RX. So they
Oh,
go through TRICARE. They help you do all the billing through TRICARE. They
nice.
just simplify the whole process. They also help you get access to your medications in Mexico
I love
by
that.
billing TRICARE and without you having to use a drug mule or anything like that.
Right?
Uh, yeah, so they're like a really really cool service for veterans, U.S.
Oh,
veterans living in Mexico.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah, next week, the 19th at
Okay,
6 p.m.
I'm watching that for sure.
Okay, good. Yeah. Frank and Jenna are the people heading that project. So very,
Oh,
very
I
cool.
love it. Wonderful.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Danny.
Ah,
Again,
my pleasure.
I hope you have something fun planned for the rest of your evening or
I do. It's my
yeah.
art class day, and I think I'm probably a little late, but that's fine. Well, it's
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Tuesday. No, no, it's Tuesday and Thursday, so I just started, so I can go on next Tuesday as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for spending your evening
Thank
with
you.
us.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody. Thank you.
Hasta luego.
Oh, hasta luego.